So this talk was supposed to be given by Rhys Cazenove, my co-founder, who's had to go back to the UK at short notice. I'm not him. Nor am I Nick Cave, who I think Andrew wanted to get up here on stage instead of me, but I will be channeling Rhys when we talk about the data that we collected for our app for Nick Cave's book, The Death of Bunny Munro. When we set up Enhanced Editions, we knew that the data we would be collecting about people's reading habits as they moved from print to digital would be almost as important as the experience that they had. The insights that we get from working on the web they're not something that you find in the print world. For example, Rhys, who spent the last 3 years working at Comedy Central on some of their big branded video projects, all of these sites are funded by advertising revenue, and they need to work out the most money they can make by retaining and attracting as many customers as possible. We try and bring all of this information into the apps. What are analytics? Well, basically, they are the feedback loop between the marketing endeavors that you do and your customers. And they take the form of a variety of different products, from Google Analytics all the way down to dedicated in-app iPhone tracking software. The importance of this data is known to all of the big companies who are on the publishing landscape at the moment, whether it's Amazon or Google. I've always found that publishing is a very intuition-based business that says, oh, I love this book, it's going to sell 1 million copies. Whereas Jeff Bezos tends to have the view that when it comes down to the important things, it's data that matters. There's always been a feedback loop between the publisher, their marketing activities, and the readers, but short of breaking into people's houses, thumbing through their bookshelves and seeing which page they've got up to, that information has never been available to publishers before. It's not very legally advisable either. These days, however, with the web, whether it's email mailing lists, whether it's Google searches, whether it's social media, Twitter, the boundaries have been blurred between what people do and what you can find out about them, and this is something that publishers must take advantage of. No more is this obvious than on handheld devices that people now have with them at 24 hours throughout the day. We can collect and analyze data from these devices to find out what people are reading and to provide better information about them. The specifics that we do within our applications is we track every single feature, from the font size to the audio sync to the videos that they see, and we collect this information to find out what has worked, whether our intuitions when we set up the company were correct or not. Some of this information is completely random. So we find out, for example, that people who are reading The Death of Bunny Munro tend to love reading it between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning for about half an hour. You contrast that with Barack Obama's book, which is read for nearly 2 hours at lunchtime, and you draw your own conclusions. Users spend, on average, 5 minutes in the average iPhone application, whereas our average time spent per session is 24 minutes, nearly 5 times the average. We draw great comfort that this means that people are prepared to read on smaller screens. Other intuitions that we had have been confirmed by the analytics. So we found out that the audio sequences are much more popular than even we could have guessed, hope to think they would be. The audio segments are much more heavily used than the video within the app, which was quite a surprise. One of the other features which has been really, really popular is the in-app newsfeed, which we use to, as Liza said, extend the life of the book. After the book's been published, we can update the app through RSS. And this has been a massively popular feature that makes the customers feel they've got a relationship with the author. Moving out of app analytics, we can triangulate sales data against press reports. And this is a chart that shows the direct relationship between press coverage we've had and region-based sales. One of the most incredible insights we had was in Norway, where we had sales that went absolutely off the scale, outstripping those even of Canada. Through a bit of research, we found out this was down to a number of factors, not least high ebook prices. And without this information, we wouldn't be able to now be pursuing the business opportunities that we are pursuing in Norway. Twitter is another source of information which can be great fun, but also it's as addictive as crack cocaine when you're trying to work out what your customers are saying about you. Still, what it does do is provide a qualitative context to the quantifiable data that we see from other sources. It's not all good news, though. If there's any hypersensitive lawyers in the room, cover your ears now. I'm afraid we know that nobody reads the copyright page, not even by accident. Now, talking of lawyers, another thing is really important when it comes down to analytics, and that's respecting your users' privacy. So in all of our apps, we allow people to turn off the usage tracking, which is anonymized anyway, and we find that about 50% of people do this. It doesn't matter to us because all of the data that we're collecting is aggregated anyway. So there's a number of sources that you can get analytics data from, and getting it on the iPhone is absolutely simple. If you're not getting it now from your current suppliers, if I were you, I would insist that you get it. All of your competitors will be having it. Our advice to you would be collect as much data as you can, change things, track it, see what happens, and when you experiment, and be prepared to act on the insights that you find. Thank you very much.